Welcome to the one and only, maybe last, of the first wedding video roast. I want to make something very clear. I don't do this. Look up wedding video roasts and you won't find it. It's not a thing. There's a reason why I'm doing this, a story behind this, and I want you guys to go read it. Basically, I have not seen this wedding video yet. I've looked at the first 10 seconds. It's awful. I also want to portray that I am not an expert. Never worked in the film industry, only done weddings professionally. My knowledge is very, very basic. If I'm not liking this, there's a lot to that. I'm not just reviewing this just to roast this video. It's because I'm tired of seeing videos like this, brides being treated how this company treated this bride. The continuous, never-ending cycle of brides being excited to have their wedding captured, vendor fucks up, bride gets upset, vendor blames the bride. So let's watch this video and maybe I'll be able to provide a little bit of context. Hope that this will maybe make you make better wedding videos, or if you're a bride watching this, this will make you have higher expectations. Okay, here we go. Okay. I'm only be able to take so much of this at a time. Okay. For one, the reason why I'm extra upset about this as well is this was an associate job. I went to film this wedding and I handed over the footage. Usually when I do this, it's for a very experienced company. I've never had to worry about it. They edit their video. They've been doing it for like 30, 40 years. I never have to worry about my footage being this happening without consent. I feel so bad for my footage. Like, it's awful. It looks terrible. For one, I'm not an expert colorist. That's not what I do. That takes a lot of time and a lot of study. But I do know skin tones and saturation, and I do know that this looks terrible. They completely removed any quality that I captured. There's no story. At this point, I kind of just think that this is a corporate commercial for a couple that's taking out a mortgage or something. For one, the music choice in the background sounds like, you know, come and open up an account today here at Fuck You Bank. Anyway, so there's no story. That's very basic filmmaking. Have a story. Where are you? What are you doing? Build emotion. It's just... So let's continue. Gross. Again, it's like I didn't even film this. Again, where's the story? There's nothing. I don't know what's happening right now. I've lost interest. Okay, I know that it's about Sarah and Jeremy. Well, that's good. Or I think so. I'm not sure. Ugh, the blowout. Like, why did you do that?
Being with you has taught me more about love and life than anything I've ever experienced. What makes us so great is we started out as best friends. We were there for one another in times of need, and there was no absence of fun.
That's not their vows. I was suspicious that this film was being crammed together a little bit too fast and everything was just being slapped together in a hurry. Now my suspicion has been confirmed because that's not their vows. Those are the wrong people at this wedding. So that means they put the wrong recording. That the editor was not only sloppy, he also didn't like proof any of this. That is a very bad mistake.
I'm not sure if the next step was Justin Miles persuading me to ask you out. Any of these late night stands conversations. Or
a lot of this is the style of editing and, like, you know, the putting it together, how it's being put together. A lot of that style. However, you do need to have a standard when it comes to story. And so far, the only story part that I'm catching on to is that we're in the ceremony right now.
We do everything together.
But there's no emotion. There was clearly like no thought that went into this edit. The same track has been playing in the background for the entirety of this wedding so far.
I've never met someone who puts others first before themselves as much as you, and that's what makes you so amazing.
And one of the style things, I have actually just cut out all of the bridal party walking down the aisle, and I simply deliver that in their raw footage. That's just something I do now. I've never had a bride complain about it because it's delivered in their raw footage when I deliver it. You know, so they get their full ceremony. But in the highlight, really try and focus on the bride and groom. It's about them. You could insert highlights of other people, but it should always come back to them. This is about them. It's their day. So eliminating the wedding party walking down the aisle, aside from mom and dad giving her away and things like that, those important parts. Aside from that, you don't need the rest of the wedding party in the highlight video in the ceremony part. And it was what I saw when I looked at my parents. And I found that in you. But I'm also very chronological when I do my edits. Being with you has I just love movies, and movies are chronological, and people want movies for their wedding videos, so that's what I go to. I always work up to the story, work it up to, like, you know, showing the bride, showing the groom, to the first look, and creating the emotion, choosing the correct music that fits their vibe, fits their wedding, fits the day and the weather, and all of that has to be taken into account. And none of that was taken into account in this video, and I clearly see that. Again, the coloring is really saturated and very high contrasty, very contrasty. They also kept, so usually for some shots I try and shoot at 120 frames per second. Only for some shots, you know, because to have the option to slow it down or speed it up later is always helpful. So they're keeping a lot of these shots at 120, and I don't really understand why. Also, this is a very prolonged, uncomfortable shot. You know what family is all about, and that's why I'm happy to call you mine. Like, I can't even see her dress. There was not even, it doesn't even look like there was any lighting correction. Pretty quick, but, and as the days pass by my mind, you are the wrong, the right, you are my sunshine. And as the night begins to die, we are the morning birds that sing against the sky. Oh my goodness. We're not even in 5 minutes into this thing. From day one, you have been my constant and my comfort. Jake, I promise to steward your heart. It's really bothering. It's just really bothering me that the wrong vows are in the background. It's ridiculous. This is just, it's appalling. And guys, to be honest, I'm bored. Like, you know, that should not happen in a wedding video. Something that I always stress is that anybody should be able to watch a wedding video. That should be the test, you know. And if you're editing wedding videos and you're putting them together and you don't have like a team that's proofreading your videos, for instance, then you should have like a good group of friends, or your wife, or I don't know, your grandma or somebody, or your mother, whatever, that watches them and make sure that they're honest. Can they watch it and watch it and know nothing about the couple and come out being like, wow, that was such a good wedding video? That should be your goal. You should have that highest standards. Like, I don't understand why people wouldn't want that highest standards. You know, I get that, well, the average wedding videographer is not shooting on a Red camera. You know, they're not shooting on an Alexa. Like, totally makes sense. But I will tell you, one thing that I used to believe is that a cameraman is only as good as his gear, or a filmmaker is only good as his gear. That's not true at all. It all comes down to story, how you use it, how you place your shots. For crying out loud, guys, the quality of cameras that you would see, or just the size of them, or the bulkiness of cameras that you would see 50 years ago. Just look at what George Lucas had to deal with, or look at how many issues Steven Spielberg ran into. Just look at the disasters of filmmaking, and still they pulled through and they were classics. That goes to show me that a filmmaker's not as good as his gear. A lot of times a filmmaker is just as good as how much he cares for his project, maybe. So the more you care about your project, the more you care about your edit, the better it's going to turn out. And I think that's where a lot of companies go wrong. Because this company in particular, they are on Wedding Wire, they are on online, they are on Google, they are on a lot of platforms. They get a lot of business. And I've gone and read the reviews. There's a lot of bad reviews, but there's also a lot of good reviews. So they're getting business. But because it's 50-50 of 1 stars and 5 stars, that tells me that they're losing quality control, that they're taking on too many brides, perhaps. Maybe they're taking on too many jobs, and they've lost the care that they have for their weddings. You know, now they just view it as a job, which you should. You know, everybody needs a job, everybody needs a livelihood, but this is clearly they clearly just didn't care, and it's just very evident, and I see it, and I know a lot of other people see it. Again, I don't do this. This might be the only one I ever do, but the reason why I'm doing it is because 1, it's my footage, and 2, I'm tired of these. They shouldn't be doing wedding videos because it's clear that they just don't care. I hope you learned something from this. I hope that maybe you are striving to be a better wedding video editor, just like I am. I hope that brides see this to have higher standards and know what to look for, and make sure that you're connecting with your vendors. Don't just push yourself through like paperwork and never see someone face to face, or at least never be on a phone call with your vendor. Have high standards, guys. Wedding filmmakers and brides, have high standards. It's okay. It's an important day that only happens once. Be sure to like, be sure to subscribe, and have a wonderful day.